reality, the most beautiful. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Read with Chide, day 79. Today or this morning, we are reading Joshua 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's quite a number of chapters. But yeah, they're not long chapters anyway, so we are going to go right into it and learn this morning because I really like the book of Joshua because it's very instructive. It's very instructive and it feels just right for this season, handing over from Moses to Joshua and God telling him again and again and again, be strong, be of good courage, do not fear. The way I was with Moses, I'll be with you, and even the elders encouraging him in the same words, be strong, do not fear, be of good courage. And I like to remind myself to not fear and be strong and be of good courage because I always find myself committing myself to things seem that tend to seem bigger than me or stuff like that. It's always encouraging to remind myself that God is with me. I will not fear. You know? Let's get right into it. Joshua chapter 4, verse 1. And it came to pass when all the people were clean passed over Jordan that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Hi Jemima, good morning. Verse 2, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man, and command ye them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and ye shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place where ye shall lodge this night. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel out of every tribe a man. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord our God into the midst of the Jordan, and take you up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye these stones? Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord when it passed over into Jordan. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. Two things I think about when I read this. First, there's the obvious thing, right? Which is that the Jordan was flooded at that time of the year, right? And it's usually flooded at that time of the year. So first off, when you think of the fact that that was the time they were crossing, it made it even a bigger miracle that the Jordan, was pulled back for them to pass on dry ground. Second thing is the importance of memorials. This is one thing we saw them do a lot in the Old Testament. When, God spoke to me in this place, and I will set up an altar and, worship God here. And then another generation comes in. For example, Abraham, you know, had set up an altar in a particular place. And then Jacob, was it Abraham that set it right? No, yeah, it was Abraham. Jacob, at the point where he had done his supplanter's turf and was running away from his brother, he slept there and, he didn't know it was hallowed ground. It's important to set up memorials. In this case now, Joshua was saying, take a stone so that when your children ask you, you're not just explaining without evidence. You have evidence. This stone we picked from the middle of Jordan because God peeled it back for us to walk on dry land. Verse 10, For the priests which bare the ark stood in the midst of the Jordan until everything was finished from the Lord. Everything was finished that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hasted and passed over. And it came to pass when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priests in the presence of the people. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh passed over armed before the children of Israel, as Moses spake unto them. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. On that day the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the day of his life. And the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, the testimony that they come up out of Jordan. Joshua therefore, and God spake unto Joshua, saying, command the priests that they bear the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of the Jordan. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, come ye up out of Jordan. And it came to pass, to when the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord will come up out of the midst of Jordan, that the soles of the priests' feet lifted up unto the dry land, that the waters of Jordan returned into their place and flowed over all its banks as they did before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the month of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal, in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. And the and he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, when your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what mean ye these stones? Then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan before you until you were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, when he dried up from before us until we were gone over, that all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that is mighty, that it is mighty, that ye might fear the Lord your God forever. Another thing, that pops in my head when I read this chapter is, God had told Joshua that I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will guide you, don't fear. I think, this was symbolic. The children going over Jordan, aside, the obvious, oh, it was a miracle, aside the obvious, oh, this was the only way they would get to where they were going, and God used it as a miracle. I also see it as a, what's the word I used just now? As a way of God saying, I through Moses I brought them through the Red Sea, or by Moses I brought them through the Red Sea. I split the Red Sea for them to pass on dry land. Now with Joshua, to show that I am with him just as I was with Moses, to show these people that this guy should be accorded every respect that Moses was accorded, every obedience to his instructions, the same way you give to Moses. He made them pass through dry land in the midst of the Jordan by Joshua as well. So this is Joshua reminding them, God has done this just as he did when we passed through the Red Sea on dry ground. And that's just, it's very interesting how God does these things to help us. Because in my, like, I think God did this, or one of the reasons God did this was to help Joshua's ministry. Verse 13, and it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with a sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us, or art thou our adversary? And he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I come now. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship, and said unto him, what saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Chapter 6, verse 1. Now Jericho was strictly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. How beautiful it is that not only do you know your God, but the people around you, the people who have designed themselves, they've designated themselves as your enemy, they know your God too. They know what he's able to do. And so they are afraid of you. So they've heard that the children of Israel are advancing towards us. So they're advancing towards our city. So they locked up their city. Nobody was coming out, nobody was going in. They were afraid. Verse 2. And the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear the ark, 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times. And the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout. And the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him, And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets and ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, Pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant and the Lord followed, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests and blew blew with the trumpets, and the reward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua that had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once, and they came unto the camp and lodged in the camp. Now, and Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord, and the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of the ram's horn before the ark of the Lord went on continually and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the reward came after the ark, and the Lord, the priests behind after the ark of the Lord, and the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned to the camp. So they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city from the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass on the 7th time that the priests blew with the trumpets, and Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord has given you the city, and this city shall be accursed, even it and all that are in it. So the Lord and all that are therein to the Lord, and only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. Now, before I continue, I want to say something, tie what I said before to this. Now, because God had given Joshua an opportunity to show them, I can do just what Moses did. God is with me. He can, through me, do what he did with Moses. They passed the Jordan on dry land. He took the opportunity to remind them, you have passed the Jordan on dry land, just as you passed the Red Sea on dry land. So that now, when he was giving them this instruction that seemed like, why are we compassing the city 7 times? And then on the 7th time we should shout. Or on the 7th day, compass it 7 times, and then we shout. They were able to obey his instructions more easily because they had seen God work through him. So it was natural. Now we know that God is with him. And so if he instructs us, we follow. Remember when we were reading Deuteronomy, when Moses was giving them instructions about, the new land they were going to and all of that, when he was talking about not listening to false prophets, he said, how would you recognize a true prophet? You will recognize a true prophet by seeing that what he says come to pass. So even though Moses, before he died, had told them, and handing over to Joshua, believe him, follow him, obey his instructions, this passing over Jordan and dry land was instructive for them to see that, okay, this guy is for real, for real. So it was easier for them to obey him when they got to the walls of Jericho. Verse 18 of chapter 6. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. Then when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it, but all the silver and all the gold and all the vessels of brass, iron are consecrated unto the Lord, they shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua had said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren and all that she had, and they brought out all her kindred and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab, and Rahab the harlot, alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelt in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua adjured them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up to build the city of Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof with his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. Chapter 7, verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, took the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2 or 3 thousand men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. And Joshua rent his clothes and fell on the floor upon his face before the ark of the Lord until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, wherefore hast thou at all brought all these people out over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us? Would to God that we had been content and dwelt on the other side Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say? When Israel turneth their back before their enemies, for the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ us about, and cut off our name from the earth. And what will thou do unto thy great name? And the Lord said unto Joshua, Get thee up. Wherefore liest thou upon thy face? Israel hath seen that they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. For they have taken the accursed thing, and have also stolen and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except ye destroy the accursed from among you. Up, sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Israel. Thou cannot stand before thine enemies until ye take away the accursed thing from among you. In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which the Lord shall take shall come according to the families thereof, and the family which the Lord shall take shall come households, and the households come by households, and the households which the Lord shall take shall come man by man, and it shall be that the man that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. Because people legit died because of what you did. Among the 3,000 that went to war, that for them to run away from Ai, it means Ai was, killing them, and they ran away. He had caused the death of many people. Verse 16. So Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarites, and he brought the family of the Zarites by man, and Zabdi was taken. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, and the tribe of Judah was taken, and Joshua said unto Achan, My son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. Then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent and brought it. It was hid in the tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua and unto the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel which with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire. After they had stoned them with stones, and they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. May God bless the reading of his word. That brings us to the end of our Bible reading this morning. We read again at 9 p.m. so that we can catch up on the missed days. I think we'll do this for this week and next week, and we will be all caught up. Thank you for joining me this morning. Do well to join again this evening. And if you're watching this as a replay, why are you watching that replay? Most likely because you're not subscribed and you don't have the notification bell turned on. So you didn't know that we're live. So please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon so that you'll be notified every single time that we are live. Have a blessed day. See you in the evening.